So this weekend, a movie is releasing, The Odyssey. Everybody's heard about it. So it is being directed by Christopher Nolan. It is based on the translation of Emily Wilson. More about her later. And this is two geniuses of their field coming together. And the story itself is the story of Odysseus and his journey home from the Trojan Wars, which was a story told in Homer's Iliad. So we've heard versions of this in our day-to-day storytelling life, some form or the other. And the Iliad is the story of the Trojan Wars, where the Helen of Troy is kidnapped or elopes with Paris. And it's actually the story of the last few months of the Trojan War, where Achilles loses his shit, kills everyone, kills Hector, favorite epic hero of all times, ends on funeral of Hector. There's the Trojan horse, and Odysseus was one of the great generals of those wars, probably considered to be the architect of the Trojan horse, the great strategy that won the war. And Odyssey is his journey back home to his wife and son. His wife Penelope is the one who's taking care of his kingdom, his fort, great strategist, unsung hero of the entire tale. And the Homer is one of those, or his texts, both Iliad and Odyssey, are almost 3,000 years old, has a huge oral tradition. As with all ancient texts, there is a huge oral tradition. There are people who have translated it, there are people who have done retellings, who have adapted it, who have interpreted it, who've taken out a character and written about it. So, and before there were movies, there was art about Homer and his work. There was sculptures and there was playwrights who've written about it. So movies, and now we have video games. So these are just the latest in the way Homer is, interpreted by all of us. So Homer is important because he's been alive and his work has been alive for the past 3,000 years. Like with our ancient text, Ramayana and Mahabharata are important because they are alive after thousands of years, as with all ancient texts. So when you are trying to sort of consume a story like Odyssey, you can consume it in many different ways. So I say there are translations, there are adaptations, there are retellings, there are interpretations, but these are not neat boxes. They sort of flow into each other. Some of them are, of course, extremely technical, like translations. So this movie is a little bit controversial for its casting and its narrative choices, because the translation it's been adapted from, or set to be adapted from, is Emily Wilson's The Iliad and The Odyssey. Now, Emily Wilson is the first female to translate from ancient Greek the Iliad and the Odyssey. She, of course, so that in itself attracts controversy. People say the translation is woke feminist. It isn't. You can, of course, deep dive into this and read what her peers say about her translation. She's an absolute kick-ass academic, one of my personal literary heroes. She's really wonderful to listen to also. So you must go and Google Emily Wilson. And she's translated it both. It's an easy translation, but according to what I have researched, an accurate translation. Then we come to Stephen Fry's Odyssey. Now, of course, as you can see that I have consumed Homer through many forms. This is not even a fraction of it. And since books are the way I consume culture, I'm essentially talking about books right now. So Stephen Fry's Odyssey is everyday English, more or less close to it's accurate narratively, but it's in everyday English. And he himself has recited the audiobook. I always recommend this book as the starting point in Homer. And he's great on audiobooks. So I recommend the audiobook in this. And this is a good starting point. Then I come to my most favorite way of reading the classics, which are the adaptation, retelling, interpretation sort of spectrum. And I start with Margaret Atwood's The Penelopiad. It's looking into the Odyssey from the lens of Penelope, the wife of Odysseus, and what she had to go through in these 20 years he fought in the war, 10 years it took him to come back home, the 30 years she managed the kingdom. This is a good book. Then, of course, gut-wrenching Pat Baker's The Silence of the Girls. This is the story of the women who were imprisoned or taken on as wed slaves by the during the war, and it's the story of Briseis, who is the bed slave of Achilles throughout the war. And as the name suggests, The Silence of the Girls, you know what happens to women and girls during war, gut wrenching. Of course, one of the most popular is Circe. There's nothing that I can say about Circe which has not been said. It deserves all of its acclaim. And but you can start this book and you will not put it down. She also wrote this wonderful book which came before Circe, The Song of Achilles. Again, wonderful. So now we come to the retellings. Now, these are not adaptations, these are not interpretations, these are definitely not translations. These are just taking certain characters into contemporary modern narratives and telling a story. The one I recommend a lot is Julie Berry's Lovely War. So the Greek gods are interfering in a war again, but the war is World War II. Another one that I think of very fondly is this book called Gods Behaving Badly. And it's all the Greek gods have come to London, modern day contemporary London, and they're creating chaos. It's a very enjoyable book. This is not even a fraction of how Homer has been a muse to artists and writers through centuries and centuries. This movie is just the latest in, bringing Homer to life. Like, this Homer has existed much before us, has inspired artists and art much before us. He will do so much after us. You have to go enjoy the movie and remember, Homer is always relevant.